Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer demands more from our strikers. He urges Mason Greenwood, Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford to be more clinical in front of goal. And he doesn't want us to be too reliant on Bruno Fernandes. Now, I've got to say, in regards to Mason Greenwood, I've been very impressed with him since he broke into our first team squad, and he's done very well recently, despite scoring. A lot of the time Mason Greenwood plays on that right hand side. You know, Greenwood can make good runs, he can carve openings, he can create chances, and he can also score goals. Mason Greenwood's still got a lot of development in him. Solskjaer's defended Mason Greenwood a lot this season. Earlier on this season, didn't really have much of a perception on him because obviously he had personal issues. At one point he was out with injury, and at one point he had illness. Mason Greenwood has been at United since the age of 7, and he made his senior debut in 2019. He's made 83 first team appearances. Mason Greenwood recently signed a new 4-year contract with Manchester United that keeps him at the club until June 2025. There's also an option to extend for a further year. Anthony Martial, now he's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had chances, but he hasn't converted them. I don't think Martial's got a long-term future at Manchester United. And I've said to you, Solskjaer needs to drop Anthony Martial. I think, to be honest with you, Edison Cavani has now overtaken him. But Anthony Martial was good last season, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial's been at the club over 5 years. Don't forget Solskjaer, give Anthony Martial that number 9 shirt. And Marcus Rashford, I've been very impressed with him. Obviously, he's had his bad periods. You know, when he hasn't been at his best, you know, Marcus Rashford, he's got in front of goal and his decision making's then been poor. His passing's been poor and his finishing's been poor. But when he's on it fully, you know, he gets good runs in behind, he creates good chances and he scores good goals. I just think we need to keep Marcus Rashford on that left-hand side because that's where he's more effective. He's much better on the left than he is on the right. Sometimes we do play Rashford centrally, but I don't think he's as good centrally as he is out wide. Marcus Rashford has been part of the club for several years. You know, he's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. But yeah, we do need to see more goals from our strikers. So I do see where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's coming from in that aspect. Bruno Fernandes, he's totally made the difference in the team. You know, Bruno Fernandes scores goals, he creates chances. You know, he's our best player and he's the best signing we have made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Bruno Fernandes has won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Fernandes did say on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Manchester United. He predominantly plays as a number 10. Fernandes' current contract ends in 2025. There's an option to extend for a further 12 months. We initially paid £47 million for him from Sporting Lisbon, but the overall cost with add-ons is just over £67 million. It said earlier on this season that we were 3 months into contract talks with Bruno Fernandes. Now, you saw my last video I did. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will allow David De Gea or Dean Henderson to leave the club this summer. I think it will be David De Gea. You know, Solskjaer has already warned David De Gea that his number 1 jersey is under threat. Gary Neville was talking not so long ago, and he said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must deal with the goalkeeper situation at Manchester United, and Neville urged us to get a world-class goalkeeper to replace De Gea. And Jamie Carragher, he's recently advised Solskjaer to drop De Gea and give Dean Henderson a run in goal. We sell De Gea in the summer. I think we'll probably get around £50 million. If you'd have asked me a few years ago, I'd have said from between £90 to £100 million. I think when De Gea leaves, he will go back to Spain. He will remain our number 1 for at least this season. You know, this is David De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United. He has been a long servant. He's made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. He's a liability now though, because in the last couple of years he's made calamitous mistakes. Cost us quite a lot of games. De Gea got criticised a lot after our 3-3 draw with Everton, because he made 2 bad mistakes in that game against Everton and effectively cost us that game. You know, in some games this season, you know, David De Gea has done quite well. He did well in our last league game against West Brom. You know, he made some good saves and he kept us in that game. I'd be surprised if we actually sold Dean Henderson this summer. I would be really, really surprised. You know, I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number 1 goalkeeper. He's got that experience behind him. He endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. And he's done well in the games he's played in this season, and Solskjaer's admitted that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. Before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Manchester United, so he committed his future with the club. I think a few players are going to leave Man United in the summer. Not only De Gea or Dean Henderson, you know, I think there's a good chance that Juan Mata will leave. Juan Mata doesn't really get in our team a lot now, does he? He did play against Real Sociedad. Juan Mata's current contract expires in the summer. We do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Earlier on this season, Juan Mata rejected an $18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. I think Mata's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club now over 6 years. He's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored 50 goals. We got Juan Mata in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. But Mata has now lost that yard of pace because he's like 34 years of age. You know, will Juan Mata go back to Spain when he leaves Manchester United? Because he began his footballing career in Spain, didn't he? With Madrid, and then obviously it was at Valencia and that. There's a chance that we'll sell Paul Pogba in the summer transfer window. I'm not going to assure he'll leave in the summer because he could stay for another season yet. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. There's 3 clubs that have been in for him, and that's Real Madrid, PSG and Juventus. I think there's a good chance that Paul Pogba will go back to Juventus because he did endure 4 very good years with them before he rejoined us. And there was narratives from Italy recently saying that Juventus offered us 4 players in exchange for Paul Pogba. We have revealed our asking price. It's £100 million. I'm very sceptical we'll get £100 million for Paul Pogba. I don't even see us recouping the £89 million that we paid for him. Paul Pogba's future is on hold until the end of the season. Now, it said the other week that we'd held talks with Paul Pogba regarding his future, and Solskjaer said he's happy at Man United and he suggested he could sign a new contract. You know, if we can't get a replacement for Paul Pogba in the summer, then maybe he will end up signing a new contract at Man United. But who is going to replace him if he leaves in the summer? You know, Mino Raiola, he's desperate to get his client out of the football club this summer. Mino Raiola has been criticised a few times, and he doesn't have a good relationship with Man United, but Mino Raiola recently admitted that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. You know, he made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig. He said last month that Paul Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the second time. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with the club until June 2022. Pogba's got a thigh injury at the moment. Solskjaer did confirm prior to our game against Sociedad that Paul Pogba's going to be out for the rest of this February. He should be back in early March. In recent months, Paul Pogba's done good. He's been probably enjoying the best period of his Man United career since he rejoined, and Pogba was out earlier on this season with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. But he is a big miss for us, definitely. Do you think there's a chance that we'll sell Nemanja Matic in the summer? He isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but he still plays, Matic. You know, I've always had my reservations about him because he's always been a slow player, and obviously he's aging up. Matic has been at the club now almost 4 years. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Phil Jones, I'm expecting him to leave this year. I'm surprised he didn't leave in January, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he's going to be given a second chance. Jones has been out of injury now for over a year, hasn't he? This is Phil Jones' 10th season at the football club, so yeah, he has been a long servant. He's the only outfield player that's still here since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer confirms he has the backing of the owners to get the players that he wants in. And this year's summer transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's biggest in his managerial career. We must make signings in the summer transfer window. Solskjaer wants 3 summer signings. He wants a forward, he wants a right winger, and he wants a centre half. And he's set to sit down with Ed Woodward to negotiate our business in the next couple of weeks. I think Solskjaer's going to be backed in the summer, which will be good, because I don't think Solskjaer's been backed enough as Manchester United manager so far. You know, he hasn't got all the players so far that he wanted to recommend in. Don't get me wrong, he has made good signings as Ole. You know, he's spent over £200 million so far since he's come in. You know, he's brought players like Dan James in, and Wan-Bissaka in, and Harry Maguire in. He obviously brought Bruno Fernandes in, brought Odin Igalo in on loan. Odin Igalo's no longer with us now. the reason we brought Agala in on loan at that time is because Rashford was not available. He had a back injury. And obviously he's brought players like Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Palestri and Amad Diallo Traore. And, Solskjaer's enjoyed 4 transfer windows so far as permanent Man United manager. Woodward's come out several times to support Ollie, even when we was enjoying them really bad periods under him when he was close to getting sacked. And Woodward did say towards the end of last year he will back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. The board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. And none of the managers have been backed enough since Ferguson retired. There was narratives coming out the other week saying that we are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer, and Woodward set to hand Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. Apparently, Erling Haaland wants a 70 million contract. That'd be a year, which equates to around £300,000 a week. Now, Solskjaer is following Erling Haaland's progress. He recently made the new Erling Haaland transfer admission and opened up on the Erling Haaland relationship. It'd be good to see Solskjaer reunite with Haaland. Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. Since Haaland's arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. He's been at Dortmund over the year. He has a £68 million release clause that becomes active next year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him. He has got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. But yeah, I'd certainly take him at Manchester United. There's still a chance that we'll sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window. It says we've been given a huge boost in our pursuit of Jadon Sancho because Sportskicker recently said via Sports Witness that a Jadon Sancho transfer is coming in the summer. But Dortmund have said they'll only sell Jadon Sancho on one condition this summer, and that's if they can keep Haaland. So what they mean in that aspect is that they don't want to sell both players in the summer transfer window. But Dortmund do face a summer of transfer exits. There was narratives coming out the other week saying that they could sell up to 8 players in the summer to raise funds. Earlier on this season, Dortmund reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million. Last summer, Borussia Dortmund's valuation was £108 million. We was not willing to meet that valuation, but Sancho was our number one priority target last summer. But yeah, recently £60 million has been quoted, and we recently believed we could get Sancho for just £50 million this summer. Apparently, Jules Koundé from Sevilla is our top transfer target. La Razón, which is a Spanish outlet, they recently said that we are considered the favourites to sign Jules Koundé and we're prepared to pay £61 million for him. He is a centre-half and we definitely need a centre-half. We need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Jules Koundé's performances for Sevilla have been outstanding. He's played 70-odd games for them in all competitions. He's got a contract left until 2024 and Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. It recently said we had a 5-man centre-back shortlist. But like I said, it was a disappointing January transfer window for us. We only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. But Solskjaer did say a few times, didn't he, during the January transfer window, that he wasn't expecting any signings. We was focusing a lot more on the outgoings in the January transfer window rather than the incomings. And to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's credit, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. But anyway, top 4 is our aim this season. I can almost assure that we'll finish in the top 4. It's obviously not guaranteed yet, top 4. We've obviously got to beat Newcastle tonight. If we was to drop points against Newcastle tonight, then obviously top 4 is at risk. We've been in bad form in the league recently. We've only won 1 of our last 5 league games, but we did recently have a very, very good win against Real Sociedad. In the Europa League round of 32 first leg, we did win 4-0, and it was a very, very good performance. So basically, we are into the last 16 of the Europa League. Obviously, we know we're not going to win the title this season. I can assure that Manchester City are going to win the title because they're 10 points in front of us. Solskjaer's actually warned Manchester City that the Premier League title race is not over. That's just Solskjaer playing mind games. He came out after the West Brom game and said that we are still in the title race, but he made a total different admission after the 3-3 draw of Everton and said we shouldn't be considered as title chasers. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. I think we'll win another title at some point, but I don't know when. Like I said, we need more signings to be genuine title contenders, and we've got to start beating the big teams in the Premier League because we've struggled against the top 6 sides in the Premier League this season. And people say you've got to, beat the top 6 sides, or at least some of the top 6 sides, to be genuine title contenders. We haven't won the league since 2013, but it's 8 years ago now, is it, or something like that? Oh, sorry, almost 8 years ago, the last time we won it. But we have won 20 titles. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must win a trophy at Manchester United to avoid the sack. And, the FA Cup's a chance of a trophy, and the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. The club of our stature need to be winning trophies. But yeah, we are sitting second in the Premier League, and I think Solskjaer's made fantastic progress at Man United. There's been some games where he's got the best out of the team. In recent months, I've seen performances improve. We've got certain players that are improving. Solskjaer's promoted the youth very, very well. He's given quite a lot of young players their chances, and he's brought more young players into the club. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We are unbeaten in our last 9 away games in all competitions. We've been far better away from home than we have been at home. We've won some games now at home this season, but all our defeats have come at Old Trafford this season. Solskjaer's got us to the Europa League last 16. He's got us to the FA Cup quarters. He got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Lost that to Man City 2-0. Ole did well last season in his first full season at the club. Guided us to 3 semi-finals. Got us 3rd place and got us qualification for the Champions League. And we've enjoyed very, very good periods under him. We've also enjoyed bad periods under Ole. We haven't done well recently in the league. We was poor earlier on this season. And Solskjaer was lucky not to be sacked earlier on this season, and was poor at the first part of last season when we enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. But Solskjaer has been criticised a lot as Manchester United manager, and even I've criticised him before. Told you one of my biggest concerns about Solskjaer is his decision making, because in a lot of his games at Manchester United he has been tactically naive. We know he hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager. You know, he's gained some managerial experience, reflecting now on he's been at the club. Solskjaer's been Man United manager now over 2 years. We appointed him in December 2018, didn't we? And he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. Hopefully Solskjaer will sign a new contract at the end of the season. Now, he did recently say that his future is in doubt, because Solskjaer admitted that nobody spoke to him over a new contract. He said the other week that we're going to wait till the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. And he says we could offer him a new 2-year deal on one condition. That's if we qualify for the Champions League. Ollie's into the final 18 months of his current contract. But yeah, I think he deserves a new contract, reflecting on the progress he's made. Probably he's the best manager since Ferguson retired, because we've had periods where we've seen consistency under Ollie. And it's good to see that, because we didn't see consistency for a long time. You know? You know, Newcastle tonight. You know, it's a must-win game for Manchester United. We should be winning anyway, because Newcastle are a very, very poor team. They are sitting 17th in the Premier League. They are facing a relegation battle, are Newcastle. You know, we beat them at Old Trafford last season 4-1. We're beating them earlier on this season at St James's Park 4-1. Got a good record against Newcastle. You know, Newcastle's last win at Old Trafford was back in 2013. It was a goal from Cabaye. Newcastle's current manager is Steve Bruce. He's been Newcastle manager now for like 19 months. Newcastle appointed him in July 2019. I'm surprised he's still there, Steve Bruce, because he is a very, very poor manager. At one point, Newcastle had Rafa Benitez, but he actually did resign. Newcastle, I think they've got 4 players missing for tonight. They've obviously got Callum Wilson injured. Callum Wilson's probably one of their best players. Fernandez, I think he's out injured. Scar, he's out injured, and Manquillo, I think he's also out with injury. I think Newcastle have got some good players. You know, Maximin's quite good for them. That Joelinton's quite good. They've obviously got Ryan Fraser. They've got Dwight Gale. They've got Andy Carroll. They've got Sean Longstaff and Matty Longstaff, who of course are brothers. They've got Jamal Lascelles. They've got Kieran Clark. They've got that Hayden. Carl Darlow's a pretty good goalkeeper. He's Newcastle's first choice goalkeeper. I thought Cabaye was good when Newcastle had him. Newcastle should have kept him, really. I also thought Yedlin was quite good for them, but they also let Yedlin go. Like I said, for this game tonight, though, Solskjaer will make changes from the 4-0 win against Sociedad recently. Yeah, obviously, Solskjaer confirmed in his press conferences that Paul Pogba's obviously still out. He said Van der Beek and Edinson Cavani could be available. I don't think Donny Van der Beek will start tonight anyway. Maybe involved, but I don't think he'll start. Solskjaer said he doesn't know how Scott McTominay is. Obviously, Phil Jones is still out, but he doesn't get in R11 anyway. By the way, Solskjaer says Edinson Cavani is set for contract extension talks. Cavani is into the final 4 months of his current contract. So, Cavani wants to stay at Man United for next season, so I do presume we'll trigger that 1-year extension on his contract. There's been narratives saying that Boca Juniors have been in for Cavani. But he's made a fantastic impact since he come in. You know, we got Cavani on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. there you go. So anyway, guys, I'll be on for the match reaction tonight. Or if it's not tonight, it will be tomorrow morning. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.